I mean, he's a standard speaker or a seasoned speaker on our platform. So I'll not be giving any brief introduction. But Prabhuji, thank you for accepting our invitation. And you can take over the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So I forgot. Can you remind me? Can I sing Jai Radha Madhava before I start?
Yes, Prabhuji, you can.
Okay, thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Yamuna Tira Vanachari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai
Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Jai Shri Radha Madhava Sakhi Bandi ki
Jai
Gauranitai ki
Jai
ki
Jai
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. Thank you for inviting me here, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Aradhana Mataji, and thank you all the devotees for being present here today and systematically studying Bhagavad Gita. You're already on 7 chapters, so that's nice. I think the last time I came, it was 4th chapter, I believe. So this chapter, chapter number 7, starts the section of Bhakti Yoga, the middle 6 chapters. So what we will do is, I will chant Sanskrit, and then someone else can read English. Parikshit, you can read first one, and maybe others can take turn and read the translation of each verse. I will just recite the Sanskrit, and you read the translation, and then we'll go back and discuss the details. So I will share my screen. Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so knowledge of the absolute is the name of this chapter. So text number 8 through 12. So in the interest of time, because we have a lot of verses, I will chant the Sanskrit and you read the translation. Prabhu, you read the first one, and maybe others can take turn and read. Okay. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi shashi suryayoho pranavas sarva vedeshu shabdakhe paurusham rushu.
O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man.
Yes, I am going to read text number 9, and any other volunteer can open your microphone and be ready to read the translation. Punyo gandha prativyancha tejaschasmi vibhavasau jivanam sarva bhuteshu tapaschasmi tapasvishu. Nihika, go ahead.
Translation. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat in fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all aesthetics.
Thank you. Okay, please, another volunteer, be ready for the next verse. Bijam mam sarva bhutanam Vidhi partha sanatanam buddhir buddhimatamasmi tejas tejasvinamaham. Yes, please, Kamal Prabhu. Unmute yourself, please.
O son of Pratha, know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of the powerful man.
Thank you, Prabhu. Text number 11, another volunteer, please be ready. Balam balavatam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshabha. One, please read the translation.
I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles. O Lord of the Bharatas, Arjuna.
Okay, last verse. Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasastamasaschaye matta eveti tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mayi. Okay, one final volunteer, please read this translation.
Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am, in one sense, everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me.
Thank you, Prabhu. Vamajnanatimirandhasya jnanakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yatkripatamaham vande shri gurum dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanyam Ishwaram Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so we are on chapter number 7. Who knows the title of the chapter?
Bro, can I say?
Yes,
Knowledge of the absolute.
yes. Knowledge of the absolute. Everyone who is studying Bhagavad Gita should memorize the titles of all chapters. There is a video some devotees made. It's a humorous. One person, a lot of people in India, they say, Krishna said this, Krishna said that, and they make videos. And some of them become so popular that they get like millions of hits on Twitter and all these places. Krishna has said this and this and that. So they made this humorous thing to, go talk to people who do things like this. And this, of course, this is just their acting. One person says, I'm lonely, everybody left me. And Krishna said, this is how everyone should be, lonely. So, and this person goes interviewing, where did you get this from? Krishna said, and he slaps him and said, you have to tell me which chapter, verse number. He says, chapter 19, verse number 420. So we need to know how many chapters are there in Bhagavad Gita. What are the titles of the chapter? Srila Prabhupada very much wanted us to know what information is present where in the Bhagavad Gita. And the very first step is to know how many chapters are there and what are the chapter names and how the Bhagavad Gita is divided. Very simple. 18 chapters and names of each and 666, how it is divided, right? And then as we study more and more, we can get deep into this subject. So we are in the middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, predominantly dealing with Bhakti Yoga. So everywhere other elements will be there, but predominantly Bhakti Yoga. So now chapter number 7, why did Krishna start this chapter? Did Arjuna ask any question in the beginning of the chapter? Usually Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna asks, Krishna answers. So to start this section, did Arjuna ask any question?
Of course, yes, Prabhu.
You said yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
What was the question?
The starting question of this chapter, or generally the starting question where Arjuna asks?
Okay, you can. Well, I'm digging into how this chapter came about.
Okay.
What is the reason Krishna is speaking this?
In the second chapter, as far as I remember, when he accepts Krishna as the, spiritual master with Karpanya Dosha Pahata Swabhava, that's where the entire dialogue starts from there. That is what is one
Okay,
point.
so now you're going to the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. But what happened is in chapter number 6, Arjuna asked, what will happen to a person who engages in yoga, but who is unable to finish his practice? So he'll become Dobika Kutta na Ghar ka na Ghat ka. This person becomes useless. Neither spiritually gets something, nor materially who could become a big man, he becomes useless. Of course, Arjuna uses the example of a cloud. A small cloud, if it cannot join the big cloud, then the poof, wind will blow it away, it becomes insignificant. But Krishna says the spiritual practice is never lost. And that person in his next life, he continues. And then Krishna goes about to establish amongst all the processes, karma, jnana, dhyana, and everything, the most supreme thing is the yoga. And amongst the yogis, yoginam api sarvesham mad gatena antaratmanam shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamomatah. Amongst all the yogis, that person who is engaged in bhakti yoga and thinking of Krishna always within him, that yogi is the topmost yogi. So this is an answer Krishna has given when Arjuna asked, what will happen to a bhakti yogi? What will happen to a yogi if he cannot finish? And then in that process, Krishna explains that it will not be wasted, he will continue in the next life. Naturally, he'll get attracted to bhakti. And those who are attracted to bhakti, those who are here, actually we have done everything in the previous lives. Visited all the holy places, took bath in all the holy rivers, recited all the Vedas, performed all 5 sacrifices, everything. And then only we came to bhakti. And then Krishna said, okay, this person has to always think of Krishna. Madgatena antaratmana. Oh, how do we execute this yoga of always thinking of Krishna? And even though Arjuna did not ask a question out of causeless mercy, Krishna himself takes the initiative. He takes the initiative. And he explains how to think of Krishna, how to observe our mind in Krishna, how to worship Krishna. Madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam. And how to execute this worship. And in that process, Krishna starts from the basic steps of how to start worshipping Krishna. That's why in the beginning of this chapter, how does it start? Yogam yunjan madashrayah. Maya sakta manah partha yogam yunjan madashrayah. Asamshayam samagram mam yata jnasyasi tachunu. This kind of yoga is executed by attaching our mind to Krishna. And this is the yoga of madashrayah, Krishnashraya, taking shelter of Krishna. This yoga is performed by giving our mind to Krishna, by taking shelter of Krishna. And through this process, we know Krishna fully without doubt. If we don't understand Krishna properly, that means we are not executing it properly. Krishna has given all the techniques. If we apply the techniques that Krishna started giving in this chapter, then we'll start knowing Krishna properly. So now in these 5 verses that we have read today, 5 verses, what did Krishna talk about? He talked about his vibhutis. How to see Krishna in different things in this creation. Now, how many items did he talk about? Did anyone try to count? Mihika, did you count?
Bro, can you repeat that?
Did you count how many things Krishna has mentioned in these verses?
Yes, 5. 6, sorry, 6.
Okay, total actually, including the summary at the end, 15 items he says. Okay. In text number 8, he says 5. Next, text number 9, he says 4. And text number 10, 3, 11, 2. And 12th one, he says everything is coming from me. That's kind of one item. So you go in the reverse order, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's good to apply this kind of things to these verses because then that will force you to think and pay attention. And now Krishna previously explained 5 elements. What are the 5 elements? 5 gross elements.
Bhumira Analo Vayu Kham Mano Buddhirev Cha.
Yes.
Ahar Itiyam mein Bhina Prakriti Ashti.
Bhumirapo Analo Vayu Kham. 5 things. 5 Panchabhutas he mentioned. And then after that come Mano, Ahankaram, Mano Buddhi. Intelligent, false ego and mind. These are the subtle. There are 24 elements. This topic again comes up in the 13th chapter also, describing some elements. So the point is, now Krishna actually is expanding those 5 elements as well as the subtle abilities, subtle things that come through the 3 modes. And this mind is the product of mode of goodness. Intelligent is the product of mode of passion. And the 5 elements are the products of mode of ignorance. And he simply expands on these things and he explains 2 categories of things in these verses. 2 categories. One is the cause and effect relationship. What is the cause for what? Second one is what is the essence present in a particular thing. Okay. So now text number 8, Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasmi sheshi suryayo pranavas sarva vedeshu shabdatke paurusham rushu. Now those who have studied Sankhya in the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, from the way the elements come is from subtle to gross. Cause and effect. Sound is the effect of space. Space is the effect of sound. Sound is the cause. From sound comes space. So when he says Shabda K and the sound in ether, what he's saying is that the cause of ether, the cause of space is the sound and that cause is me. That's cause and effect relationship. And now when he says Paurusham Rushu, an ability in man, what it means is what makes somebody a real man is his ability to do things, ability to get things done. Then that says, wow, you are the man, they say if you do something, right? So the point is, in some of the things, Krishna is speaking, and the essence of this, some of the things, cause and effect relationship. So that's I want to point out as we go through these things. So the very first one is Rasoham apsu kaunteya, right? I am the taste of water. Krishna is saying, I am the taste of water. Now, because this is the beginning of this section, Srila Prabhupada takes time to explain few things. Okay. So now, seeing Krishna, Krishna is saying, I am this, I am this. Now, does that mean Krishna has reduced to these things and that's it? Some people may think like that. So, the impersonalist, he thinks, oh, the Lord is in the water, Krishna. So that is water. The Brahman is in the water. But a devotee thinks this is Krishna's energy. Krishna has kindly supplied this water for me to be able to quench my thirst. And who does he think? When he drinks water, he thinks of that his worshipable Lord Krishna. You think of your worshipable deity, Radha Nilamadav, Radha Shyamasundar, Radha Golopananda. So you think your worshipable Lord when doing that action. Oh, thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Nilamadu. Whereas the impersonalist may think, this is Brahman, this is the Supreme, everything that itself is. But however, both are correct. One is Krishna's energy. You could say energy is not different from the energetic. So in this way, there is no contradiction between personal and impersonal conception. Because in Bhagavan, both personal and impersonal exist simultaneously. This is our Achintya Beda Abheda Tattva. Energy is simultaneously one and difference with the energetic. And this is the Siddhanta of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva. Simultaneously one and different. So this is kind of a preface to the sequence of all these verses and how do we understand these things. So we all know when we are really thirsty, if you are really thirsty, extremely thirsty, would you prefer water or would you prefer some soda? What do you prefer?
Of
Water.
course, water.
My personal experience is water. No matter what I drink, unless I get some water, the thirst will not go away. We can really appreciate the taste of water. And then we can see how Krishna is so kind in supplying this water. But nowadays, even good water is becoming a rarity, right? I mean, the tap water, of course, I drank tap water for a long time. Then my wife started having some health issues. Then we said, okay, let's get some natural water. So we tried some spring water. No processing done. They collect it from the springs in the mountains and bring it over. And there's so much difference between those two. Naturally supplied by Krishna versus the city, putting it to some processing of that water. Yeah? And the taste of water. And the light of the sun and the moon. Without the light, even with our eyes, we cannot see. We cannot see ourselves, and we cannot see the sun, and we cannot see the objects without the presence of light. So this is the point. We are so insignificant. Without Krishna, we cannot realize who we are. We cannot understand who Krishna is. We cannot understand who others are. Only when we are illuminated by Krishna consciousness, all of these things will be revealed. Just like in the example of the sun, we see ourselves, the sun, as well as everything around us by the presence of the sun. And the syllable Om, Omkara. Omkara is so powerful. And everything, the creation actually starts from Omkara. And all the Vedic mantras, there is Omkara. Om Tat Saditi Trivida Brahmana Nirdesham. These three words, Om Tat Sat, are used to indicate the Supreme Brahman. But Om is an impersonal way to address Krishna, whereas saying Krishna, Rama, Narasimha, these are personal ways of addressing Krishna. And then finally, taste of water, light of the sun and the moon, syllable Om, sound in ether and ability in man. I already talked a little bit about the sound in ether. Ether comes from the sound. And then ability in man. Our ability means the efforts that we put to bring a particular thing to fruition. We are trying to, we make certain things work. That ability is also Krishna. Without his mercy, we cannot make things work. 5 items. The next verse, he talks about 4 items. Punya Gandho Pruthivyamscha. I am the original fragrance of the earth. Krishna says, I am the original fragrance of the earth, and the heat in the fire, and life of all that lives, and the penance of all ascetics. Now here, the word punya, Prabhupada says, means it's not decomposed, as well as original. So the original fragrance of the earth. When you take, say, a stem of jasmine. I'm amazed that the smell of jasmine is so wonderful. In a little pot, a devotee gave me a stem. Gopinath Acharya Prabhu gave me a stem of this thing. And actually he gave the stem, and then I put it in one pot, a little bit of dirt. And the dirt is practically, we think dirt is useless, right? And then I put it, and then after a month or something, beautiful flower came. Oh my God, so much fragrance. And I did not spray some fragrance into the soil. It just came out. How did that happen? This is Krishna's magic show. This is real magic show. From the earth, a flower comes and there's so much fragrance. And the Krishna is such a big magician. And saying, I am the fragrance of that earth. And he's the heat in the fire. And when there is no fire in the stomach, we cannot digest properly. Ayurveda helps. And they tell what to eat and how much fire we have. And with that fire, what can we digest? And they recommend to eat that much. So Krishna helps us in the digestion of the food also. And he's the life of all that lives. Without Krishna, there is no life. Krishna is the life. Sometimes great acharyas, they sing songs that Krishna is their life. Particularly for the Brajvasis. Like when something happened to Krishna, what happened? They fainted. Because Krishna is their life. Mother Yashoda totally fainted. Krishna is their life and soul. But of course, they recognize, devotees recognize, non-devotees do not recognize. But it is Krishna who is giving them that pranavayu, that prana shakti. And then finally, he is the penance of all ascetics. So the ability to do tapasya. When you do tapasya, you need a lot of tolerance, right? Sometimes, whether we're fasting and doing certain things, I'm like, wow, how are you able to do this, Prabhuji? And some devotees wake up early in the morning at 2 a.m. and chanting a lot of rounds. And like, where are you getting this strength from? They are getting this strength from Krishna. And that the power to perform austerities is coming from Krishna. And now in this particular verse, there's also something interesting. Prabhupada mentions the uncontaminated flavor, the original flavor which permeates everything is Krishna. Similarly, everything has a particular original taste. So what is Prabhupada trying to say here? And he says the flavor and fragrance in a flower, in water, in fire, in air, etc. There's no flavor in fire. So what actually is intended here, as you see Prabhupada giving the example of taste, is in Sanskrit it is said, Punyo Gandha Prithivyancha Tejas Chasmi Vibhavasu. Here you see this cha here indicates that just like the fragrance in the earth, the similar punya, the originality in other elements. And what are the other elements? Panchabhutas, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Ether he already covered in the previous verse. I am the sound in the ether. Taste of water he already covered. Smell of earth he is covering. These are sense objects, by the way. And then two more things are left. What are they? Earth,
Air,
earth, water, and sound.
Fire.
Ether is over. So what is remaining is
fire,
and air.
air.
Okay. So that means we should take that here. He is the form in the fire, Rupa. Okay. So when he said Tejas Chasmi Vibhavasu, so the fire in the form is also indicated, as well as the touch sensation of the air is indicated. Okay. So that's the meaning that is intended in this verse. Okay. So that's why Prabhupada goes, everything original has some smell, some fragrance, and some taste. So he's covering the sense objects. So the intent of Krishna here, as the Acharyas explain, is the other two senses elements also, sense objects, Krishna is mentioning. And verse number 10, so we have 5, 4, and in this there will be 3. O son of Pritha, I am the original seed of all existence, as intelligence of the intelligent and the prowess of all powerful men. So I am the seed of all existences, Bijam Mam Sarva Bhuteshu. And Prabhupada explained there are 8,400,000 species of life. Right? 8,400,000 species. And all of them are coming from Krishna. He is the Bija. So one way to look at it is also, he is the Pradhana from which the bodies of all the living entities are coming. Pradhana, then it becomes Mahatattva, and then eventually 3 modes and false ego, combination of modes producing all the senses, sense objects, the mind, intelligence, ego, and all these things. So Krishna is the seed of all these things. And then he is the intelligence of the intelligent. What is the function of intelligence? Main function of intelligence?
To give the correct knowledge, like right or wrong, to the mind and to us.
Yes, ability to distinguish from what is valuable, what is worthless. What should I do, what should I not do? And that intelligence is Krishna. So when we are able to make a right decision, who should we appreciate?
Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna, for helping me make the right choice, right decision. And then the prowess of all powerful men. Tejas Chasmi Tejasvinam. So this is also, everybody's power also comes from Krishna. And this particularly here, it means the ability to conquer others. That confidence, moving forward, confidence and ability to conquer. So this power is also coming from Krishna. So next one is 2 items, text number 11. And the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire, and sex life which is not contrary to religious principles. So I want to point out, just like in the previous verse, there is Teja, Tejas Tejasvinam, and also in verse number 9, Tejas Chasmi Vibhavasu. The word Tejas is used in verse number 9 and 10, but they have different meanings. Okay. In one place it's heat in fire. In the other place, Teja is the power of a powerful person. Now in this verse, now look at the verse, I highlighted it. Tell me which word came 2 times.
Bala.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay, but that's not what I'm looking for here. You need to know a little bit Sanskrit, very little. The last letter is different, but otherwise there are 2 same words.
Kama and Kama.
Kama.
Yes, Kama. Balam balavatam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam. And the strength amongst the strong, however, devoid of Kama and Raga. So he's saying devoid of Kama, Raga, and that strength. And the next one he's saying Dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. I am also Kama. Previously he said devoid of Kama, I am strength. And in here he's saying I am Kama. Just before he said I am not Kama. And here he's saying I am Kama, but which is not against Dharma. So these 2 Kamas have a slightly different context to this. Okay. So strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. So here Kama, Kama raga. Okay. So passion and desire is how it is used. Passion as kama and desire as raga. So strength without these two things. And Prabhupada says what it means is someone should use the strength to protect the weak. To protect weak from, say, abusive strong. That is the purpose of that kind of strength. Balam is Krishna. So now you can also think of kama here as a desire for when we need some, when we attain something, right? So we want something, so we get it. Okay? Kama is a desire for objects or to maintain our life. So we have a desire. And when that desire is fulfilled, we still want more, still want more, still want more. And that is raga, that hankering that doesn't stop even though I have some things. Our desires will never stop. And that continuity is raga, that attachment. And when we do not have these things, when we do things just for the sake of Krishna consciousness, pleasing Krishna in our day-to-day prescribed duties, and that kind of attitude, Krishna is saying, that's me. So we very strongly, we go about doing our duties, but thinking we are doing it as a service to Krishna. And then the next one is dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshana. And this kama is particularly the sex life, and it must be used to beget Krishna conscious children, to beget children whom we help to become Krishna conscious. So that means it extends even beyond the action. Okay, you married, you got children, therefore I am done. I thought that I will raise them in Krishna consciousness, therefore I am done. Unfortunately, the duty does not end there. It continues until we are able to give Krishna consciousness to our children, or until they grow up and they make a choice whether to continue or not. But we did everything possible to give them Krishna consciousness. And then finally, the last verse, one principle. Ye chaiva satvika bhava rajasas tamasarchaye matta eva tan vidhi natvaham teshu te mai. Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. Everything is coming from me. Previously I said, this is me, this is me, this is me. Now, everything. And in one sense, everything. But at the same time, I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, but they, on the contrary, are within me. So now here, Srila Prabhupada explains that Krishna is saying he's not within the modes. That means he's beyond the modes, therefore he's called Nirguna. However, everything is coming from him. So Mayi Teshu. Sorry, there are two. Mayi means in me, Teshu means in that. So he's saying, I am not in them. Natvaham Teshu. I am not in them. But he's saying, Te Mayi, they are in me. So what does this literally mean? The actual meaning here is, I am not dependent on them, but they are dependent on me. And that meaning you see in the translation, I am independent. You don't see any word here which says I am independent in the word for word meanings. But in the translation, Srila Prabhupada puts, but I am independent. The Acharyas explain that Natvaham Teshu means Aham Teshu, I am not dependent on them. The word Teshu is the locative in Sanskrit. I am not in them or I am not on them. Means I am not dependent on them. They are dependent on me. That's the meaning that's being conveyed here. And Matta eva tanvid, they are coming from me. And Prabhupada says even somewhere that in Vedas also it is explained that everything is coming from Krishna. In one of the purports he said Janmadhyasya yataha. Everything is emanating from him. So matta eva, they're all coming from him. But he is not dependent on this. But however, we are dependent on the modes. We are driven by the modes. Our body is given by the modes. Our pains and pleasures are associated with the modes. Until we become fully transcendental, we try to use those modes in a favorable way to advance in Krishna consciousness. So I will stop here. I think we have some time for questions. I will stop here. Thank you very much. Anyone has questions, comments?
Prabhuji, Hare Prabhu, do you want to say?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and enlightening us on the purport of the Srila Prabhupada in these 5 verses that you have given. Very nice thoughts process, how to really understand the verses of Bhagavad Gita. Thank you so much for that, and we hope that you will continue to enlighten us. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Now you can take question and answer session, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Dear devotees, if any of you have any questions for Prabhuji with respect to today's session, you may now ask. I will unmute you.
Even silence is coming from Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, I have one question. So when you are explaining the verse and in one of them, it has been said that I am the taste of the water. So if we have to understand Krishna in the form of water as the taste, you said that, not like the way we are purifying, that's not the one, but you're saying about this, the spring water or something. But when we drink, how do we, understand that, this is Krishna, that, when I'm drinking it, what is that mood and how do we see that one?
So here Prabhupada says, right, so Krishna has kindly supplied this water to quench my thirst. So we can see without water, how are we feeling? And after drinking, how are we feeling? Pay attention next time. And that difference in the feeling, so who should we give the credit to? Right? Before, after minus before, and that is actually Krishna. So we should be
Avyakta and Vyakta, it looks like.
We should be grateful to Krishna for that experience of before and after. And then by drinking that water, not only that moment, but then we are able to feel refreshed. A lot of times, His Holiness Samat Preshak Maharaj says, when you are tired, a lot of times you are not tired. You are actually thirsty. You think about this next time. When you are tired, you are actually not tired. You are thirsty. So drink little water and you feel, there's some energy even coming through your eyes and you feel better. And we forget to drink water. And people develop stones in kidneys. So many things, right? Just keeping this proper habit of drinking proper water. So many good things will happen. So we should be grateful to Krishna for this.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I have this question where we say like there are 8.4 million species.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually asking my Prabhu also yesterday, do they come from Krishna? Or because Brahma created this universe, Brahma designed those 8 point, like how did the number 8.4? Did Brahma or like did Krishna enlighten him when he was meditating that you have to create so many species?
Yes, so good point. The creation itself happens, you could say, predominantly in 2 ways. The first one is called Sarga, where the elements come from Krishna. And the second one is called Visarga, where Brahma combines those elements and then creates living entities. So the raw material is supplied by Krishna and the end products are given by Brahma. You see, manufacturing. You have to procure raw material. And that raw material is coming from Krishna. the finished goods, finished products, you could say that's coming from Brahma. And even finished products, how are they made? They are made based on our own tendencies, 3 modes of material nature, but the combination of different modes in different, you could say, measurements. The recipe for different species is different. So many recipes. And even within which may look like same recipe, people may belong to same species, still they have different tendencies, but there are also common tendencies amongst the species, right? So all that thing is done by Brahma. And the reason it is that many is not that Krishna desired, it is because that is how, of course, it is Krishna who has designed it based on how 3 modes would influence us. So it's 3 becoming combination of 3. If you have R, G, B, the color scheme, if you know of that color scheme, you just, I may have shown this before, but I'll just for the sake of demonstration. So you see here paint, and you have this what's called color palette. So you see pretty much any color you can think of, it can come from here. Okay. So right now the highlighted color here is at the bottom here, which is let's see if I can get a pointer. How do I get a pointer? Anyway, screen sharing. Okay, so here, I don't know if you're able to see my mouse pointer, but the color is black, right? So when everything is 0, these are hexadecimal numbers. Each 2 digits represent, first is red, second 2 digits is green, third one is black. So now, if I change, say the first one, FF means 255. So now what color do you see here in the bar? Red color, right? So that's red. Now I can say I want red and green combined. So I say RRFF. So when red and green are combined, it gives you yellow color. And within the yellow, you see the slider here. As you keep on moving slider, you see the numbers changing on the right. 209, 2090. So I go all the way down, 000. If I go up, you see the numbers changing. So like that, if I change 00 and then I say R and I want to full blue, 255 red, 250 blue. When red and blue are mixed, you get purple. And I think the purple has pink shades or something. I'm not good at colors. So the point is, by the combination, you get a different color. So therefore, the behavior of an individual based on the combination of modes and stuff, Krishna creates different species of life and different mentalities, different psychologies. So that's how the creation came about.
And also, like when, if I remember this correctly, at the end, we all will, based on our tendencies, we all will go, like we have come from the Rome Chidra, like
the pores of Mahavishnu.
Yes. So when we were there, we already had those tendencies. Okay. And when Brahma created, we came with those tendencies.
Okay, now when it is said we came from Mahavishnu, so when the destruction of the creation happens, before another creation, we all go into the body of Mahavishnu. So now before the creation, we all have some tendencies. So imagine like in one day, the pralaya will come, everything will be destroyed, Brahma's night time, or even Brahma's end of life. Both situations, we'll all go and sleep in the body of Mahavishnu.
Yes.
And when the creation begins again, then we come out. So our subtle tendencies are there. And then accordingly, bodies are given. So in this process, it is said like that. Now coming to the second point, goes into origin of Jiva. There is one opinion, ISKCON's authorized opinion given by Prabhupada, is we were in the spiritual world and we fell down. And then we have been doing these checkers back and forth into Mahavishnu from long time. And second opinion is that we have never been in the spiritual world. We are making our way. But the first one, what I said is ISKCON's authorized position as given by Prabhupada. But Prabhupada also says it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just get back there and we'll figure out. Yes.
Thank you very much. This is always a question of confusion, or like I understand it, and then after a few days, I'm like, okay, again, this doesn't make sense to me. So
Yes,
thank you
hear
very
again
much.
and again, yeah.
I don't think anybody has any other questions, but you very, very nicely explained all the 5 verses. But Prabhuji, like how you were going in depth of the words, right? Like which are the words that are repeated in the previous verse or in this verse, and how the karma word has 2 different meanings. Just as an ordinary person who doesn't know Sanskrit, it is very difficult to dig deeper into what, or like how Krishna is playing with those words for our better understanding, right? So
Yes.
is
Yeah.
it necessary or is it advisable to understand or get to know Sanskrit deeper to be able to have a better understanding of Bhagavad Gita?
Well, actually, Prabhupada said he gave all his books to do one thing, to chant 24 hours a day. Right? But because we all have our own tendencies, like my tendency is jnana, therefore I go deeper into this one. Someone's tendencies may be karma, like organizing or building temples. So we have to see where our tendencies is, and what is useful for that tendency, we bring it into our, our development of Krishna consciousness. So it is not necessary, but it will make us remember those words in a better way.
Yes.
If we apply some techniques, like I was saying, oh, how did this happen? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm sure next time you remember this, because it's a nice mathematical order. If someone is good at math also, it gives you some inspiration in the 7th chapter. And this is also Vibhuti, right? Vibhuti Yoga that continues in chapter number 10 and 11. Finally, it ends in 11th chapter, actually starts in the 7th chapter. You see the same things repeated in the 10th chapter.
Yeah.
In a deeper way, in much more elaborately. He mentions only few things here. So there are many ways to analyze Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna is beautiful from all sides. Every single thing he does is extremely wonderful. Prabhupada himself said, actually Prabhupada already wrote 2nd Bhagavad Gita, right? The first one he wrote, his wife sold it for tea biscuits. So now he wrote another one. And Prabhupada one time said, actually, if I have time, I can write another Bhagavad Gita with totally new purports.
Hare Krishna.
Right? So that's how Krishna's Bhagavad Gita is so beautiful. From many angles, in many different ways, never ending. That's why from 5,000 years, everybody is swimming in Bhagavad Gita. Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much for enlightening us, and just helps me read and meditate more on these words and verses. So thank you very much. And we hope we can hear you again in the 7th for one of the 7 chapter sessions, not like after we finish next 3 chapters. So we are very, very grateful that you always accept Harila Prabhu's invitation and kindly come on Monday evenings to educate us and enlighten us on these verses. Prabhuji, we are really very grateful. I mean, we, meaning the entire Partsarthi listeners and the foundation, is very, very grateful to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. I'm really grateful for Harila Prabhu. I seek a lot of inspiration from him. He helped me assimilate with this community here, and the first time I visited also, he was there for me.
And actually, it's Harila Prabhu's birthday tomorrow. So according to India time, it is already started. So on
Right.
behalf of Partsarthi Foundation, we would like to wish you a very happy birthday, Prabhuji.
Yes, Harila Prabhu. Many, many happy returns of the day. Continue blessing us.
Yes.
By you being here, we are becoming more Krishna conscious.
That is my wish, that I can pray to Sri Radha Anil Madhav, everybody get their ability in increasing their spiritual progress every day. That is, I'll always keep praying for all of you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Harila Prabhu is a great inspiration in studying the Shastras.
Not really, Prabhu.
Yes,
He's, you know,
We need help from you
if
too.
at his age, he's so sincere. He writes beautiful notes, and his classes are wonderful, well researched, and everything. And he has totally dedicated himself to Srila Prabhupada books, which is very evident. We used to talk even on the phone from last 15 years, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, very, very organized and very dedicated to studying Srila Prabhupada books, and he's inspiring all of us to do the same thing. So we are very grateful to you, Prabhuji.
At this age, Prabhuji just does not miss any classes, and he's always there with his video on listening. And at the end, he's always encouraging the speaker and highlighting the points they have spoken. I mean, it's really commendable. So much to learn from Prabhuji.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all.
So Prabhuji, if you allow, can we close the
Yes. Thank you.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Grace Srinivas Acharya Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Happy birthday once again, Harila Prabhu. We will wish you again tomorrow, but I thought I
Thank you
could
so
take
much.
this opportunity to wish you today because it's already 26th in India.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, dear devotees, for joining our session. We will meet you again tomorrow for our session with His Holiness Hanumat Prekshit Swami Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranams. Prabhuji, can I end the call?
Yes.
Okay. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.